Is your riding lawnmower struggling to spin over and start with a good battery? Well, luckily for you, we are going to address what could be the problem in today's video. We are going to be fixing some rocker arms on a riding lawnmower. So, some of the symptoms the customer was having on this particular riding lawnmower was that he was burning up starters. Now, the cause that this ended up being was a broken rocker arm, as we're going to see later in the video. Anytime the mower is hard to turn over, it's always a good idea to go ahead and see what's causing this compression. So first thing to do is I'm going to remove the valve cover, which in this case it was 4 little bolts, pretty easy to do. Most of these mowers, it is easy to get to the valves, including Briggs and Stratton engines. So here you can see the valves and rocker arms and everything are exposed. And there is going to be the cause of our issue. You see the top one moves freely and moves good, but as we spin over the engine, the push rod is moving, but it is not moving the lower rocker arm. So the mower was building up compression, but it wasn't exhausting the compression, which was causing increased wear on the starter and just making it not spin over and it wasn't running. So what we are going to do is we are going to replace this rocker arm. I'd take the spark plug out so the engine's easy to spin over, to find top dead center, everything like that. If you're only replacing one of these rocker arms, normally what I like to do is I like to have the engine turned to where it is on a compression stroke on the other valve. And as you can see, this rocker arm completely shattered. This is actually pretty common with these types of engines. This is a Briggs and Stratton clone that Craftsman put in a few of their mowers for a few years. But this and the camshaft pressure release is a pretty common failure in these types of engines. I'll link the part number in the description if anyone else is having this issue. Normally, if your engine is having an issue with too much compression or too little compression, it's always a good idea to check the valves first. That's an easy thing that you can check for. So, as you can see, I just put it on there and now the push rod is moving it and it is actuating correctly. So now what we need is set the valves, and I normally like to set these valves at like 6/1000ths of an inch. Different manuals will state different things, anywhere from 0.3 to 0.4 thousandths of an inch, but right here I'm going to use 0.6 thousandths of an inch. Whenever you insert your feeler gauge in the middle of the valve and the rocker arm, you want it to drag on the feeler gauge. You want to be able to move the feeler gauge, up and down all around it, but you don't want it to have no resistance at all. You want there to be a little bit of drag. So what I'm doing here is I am locking the adjustment nut with a wrench, and then I'm tightening down the actual adjustment with a socket right here. It's a little finicky. But once you get it done, you want to spin the engine over a few times, insert your feeler gauge, and spin the engine over a few more times, and then reinsert your feeler gauge. This one had a gasket, this overhead valve cover, so double check the gasket, made sure that there were no tears, anything like that, so it wouldn't leak oil, and then at that point, put it back together. Before I start a mower, I always check the oil. And again, this mower wasn't running at all, the engine wasn't spinning over, and this wasn't the internal decompression. Now we're going to start it. So this surging ended up being caused from a vacuum leak from where the carburetor connects to the intake. So once we put the air filter assembly on and everything like that, this mower ran perfectly. But I just want to show y'all it does run. There will be some smoke, most likely, because whenever you take the overhead valve cover off, it is filled with oil. But that is all we have for this video. Thanks for watching. This is Octane Restoration, Small Engine Repair.